This is the Red Line, and I am your host, Jimmy Red. Thanks for tuning in. Man, wild card weekend. It's over. Now we got divisional, conference, and Super Bowl. So it has been a wild card weekend. Only one team that was not the underdog won, that being the Dallas Cowboys. All the underdogs won and advanced. With that first game being the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. I picked Indianapolis to win the division. I said they would go 10-6. They went 10-6, but they lost the division. They were unable to win the division against Houston, who ended up winning that division, who I said it would be a close race with in the prediction show earlier this year. Hopefully you guys caught it right here on Roundabout Productions website under the Red Line tag. That's awesome if you guys did. Thanks for watching that. But Indianapolis won that game 21-7. Andrew Luck, that's what I'm talking about. Threw for 222 yards, had 2 touchdowns, interception, but Andrew Luck's good for one a game. And everybody talked about Deshaun Watson. He's played in big games before. He's played in the college playoffs. He's won national championships. I'm sorry. But the NFL is not college football, folks. We've seen it numerous amounts of times with players. We saw it with Reggie Bush. We saw it with Vince Young. We've seen it with Troy Smith. That's to name a few. Deshaun Watson, you're right there in the same category. You were with all 3 of those guys because they were all Heisman candidates. And it's just not the same, bud. And he found out that Indianapolis is for real. Indy had a great game. And you kind of, as Houston, looked at it as T.Y. Hilton's a killer of us. He's averaging over 103 yards per game against us in all of our matchup. He kills us every game. That's an average for T.Y. Hilton. He sees his team twice a year, and he's seen them for about the last 8. So he's seen his team 16 times, roughly. And he's averaging over 100 yards. That's incredible. So as Houston, you kind of think, how do we shut T.Y. Hilton down? But then there becomes a problem. Because you concentrate so much on T.Y. Hilton that you forget about Marlon Mack. And Marlon Mack, since he's came back and got healthy, wow, he's looked great. He's the 4th rounder they got out of South Florida. Looks and runs like a first-round running back, which is what makes me think, why do people pay all these running backs so much money like Le'Veon Bell once paid all this money? I understand he's good, but I mean, when Marlon Mack goes and faces one of the top defenses in the NFL, with J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney, and all of them, and he runs for 148 yards and a touchdown on 24 carries, wow. What do you need to pay Le'Veon Bell for? You got him right there. You got talent that you can get late in the draft. Alvin Kamara was the same way. Got him late in the draft. He can do the same stuff. The reason I thought Indy would win this game, I said Indy by 10. I picked originally 34-24 Indy. That's what I've told everybody who asked me that I knew. More than that. It was definitely a lot bigger than that. It ended up being 21-7. It won by 14. But that's besides the point. The reason I did that is because Deshaun Watson was the most hit quarterback in the NFL, which means he obviously was not in the best shape. Andrew Luck, one of the least hit quarterbacks, offense did the best. He was only sacked 16 times this year. Deshaun Watson was like 62. So that's just sacks. That's not even scrambling. That's sacks. So that's great for Andrew Luck. He was healthy. He was ready to go. Shoulder looks good. And I took Indy to win that game on pure health and the way they were rolling into the playoffs. And they did. And they are hot right now. And I'm telling you, Kansas City should be scared. So watch out, Kansas City, because Indy's rolling into town. The other game was the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks. And this was the one where the favorite team, being Dallas, won. But they did it on the back of pretty much Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, 26 carries, 137 yards, and a touchdown. Dak had a pretty solid game for Dak. He threw for 230 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Pretty solid game for Dak. Russell Wilson, no touchdowns, and he threw an interception. The defense stepped up big for Dallas. And Rashad Penny just was the leading rusher with only 29 yards. They didn't have any rushing game. And there were a couple of plays on there that you kind of wonder, should that have been called? Because there were chances when Seattle had this game won, but they gave it back when they had 2 third-down pass interference calls. One of them that I think was not a pass interference call because the player was tripping as the hand came across and swatted. Wrong call. They got tangled up. I don't like that call. So it kept the drive alive. I didn't like that. But what can you say? I'm not the ref, and the refs make the rules. And Dallas has moved on, and they're on to face their next opponent in their matchup as Dallas won that game 24-22. They pulled a huge upset. Dallas fans love it. They're stoked. I'm happy for the Dallas fans. It gives them something to talk about for a little bit now because they got that W. But now it looks like your quarterback Dak's going to get paid, and that's going to be rough because Dak's going to get paid, and he's not going to be able to pay the role players you need to have him. So congratulations to Dak on getting paid, but hopefully they can find a way to keep winning. And also shout out to him for keeping his winning season or career of above 500 alive. Another game, this one here was good. And I liked watching this one. This one was the Chargers, who were hot, versus Baltimore. Baltimore's got that young quarterback in Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson did not have a good first 3 quarters whatsoever. He ended up with 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. But if you look at his first 3 quarters, he had 25 passing yards in the first 3 quarters, 40 rushing yards. He was 3 of 9 with no touchdowns and an interception. If you go to the fourth quarter, where he found a way to just turn it on, take it to the next level, and become an awesome quarterback, he went 169 yards, 14 on the ground with his legs, 11 for 20, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. So Lamar Jackson wasn't Lamar Jackson until the fourth quarter. Phillip Rivers wasn't Phillip Rivers of what he normally is. Only threw for 160, no touchdowns. But Melvin Gordon punched one in and put one on the board for him. They escaped after they forced a fumble from Lamar Jackson as he went to throw the ball, trying to march down the field. They escaped that one. They are able to move on. They went on the road, traveled to Baltimore, won that game. But the Chargers, man, I'm telling you, they could be a team that could come in there and they could do some damage to the Patriots. So make sure you tune in to see that. But that game right there was incredible. And the other game was probably the most wild game of the weekend with the Eagles and the Bears. Eagles and Bears ended 16-15 as the Eagles defeated the Bears, but they did it on a kick that was missed by Parkey, the kicker for the Bears. Parkey missed 6 field goals up until that point that hit the upright, 6 of them. He had 4 in one game, 1 against who I don't remember one team that it was against, and then he did it the weekend before that, in the final weekend of the year against Minnesota. He hit the upright to win the game as well. They say they have video that shows the ball was tipped. The video's so distorted, it's hard to tell if that ball was tipped. So it's tough to say if it was or was not. But the fact being is he had the first kick hit, went right through it, bang, won the game for him. Great call by their head coach, Coach Peterson, for calling that timeout, getting it in there, making him hit it twice, and letting the Eagles win it. And let me tell you, Nick Foles, he deserves a starting job, folks. I know a lot of people don't think he does, but when you can step in and do what he's done the last 2 years, he had to come in the last 3 games out of the year and win to get into the playoffs. What did he do? Won them all. He won this weekend. Bang. Went and won the Super Bowl last year. Bang. If you need to win and it's a pressure situation, you need Nick Foles. And the biggest thing that everybody needs to remember is that Nick Foles wanted to retire. He wanted to retire, and Andy Reid's the one who kept him there. So he gave you guys a pretty good present, if you ask me. So I would be happy about that. But Mitchell Trubisky, it's tough to see his year in this way. He had a phenomenal year, didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. That defense did not show up for him and help him out very much, for sure, because they had plenty of opportunities to do stuff and were unable to do it. But Trubisky, it's tough to see his season end. I really enjoyed watching him. I know he didn't do a whole lot of flashy stuff, but he played the game very, very smartly. Didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. He threw for 300 yards in this game. He's going to be something to watch years down the road. The problem being is with him, I think, is once people figure out him as a quarterback, because he runs more of a spread style offense like you run in college and high school, that they're going to be able to stop that. But his coach, Matt Nagy, is doing very well developing him, and I'm excited to see what this next chapter has for Mitch Trubisky. But the Eagles won this game 16-15, and they moved on. In the first matchup in the divisional round of playoff footballs will kick off at 4:35 on NBC, and that is the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chargers. And let me tell you, folks, this is a matchup that a lot of people are doubting Indy on, but they are hot. Dallas. Indy only has a 25% chance, they say, to win this, basically. I see it as more than that. The spread's got it at 5.5 for Kansas City being at home, but remember, their head coach is Andy Reid. Andy Reid typically can't win in the big game. They have a quarterback who is a second-year guy, but it's the first year as a starter, and Patrick Mahomes had a phenomenal year, over 5,000 passing yards, over 50 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, phenomenal year as a quarterback. I mean, amazing. But Indy is tough. Indy has got the leading rusher in the NFL with Darius Leonard, with most tackles in the NFL. He's probably going to win Rookie of the Year and beat out Darwin James. That's the kid who plays for the Chargers. He'll probably beat him out for Rookie of the Year. Remember, they don't have Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was suspended, so now they're using Spencer Ware as their number one running back. Indy's up and healthy. Their quarterback hasn't been hit very much. T.Y. Hilton's just coming back from injury. Last week he wasn't full. This week he will be full health again. I think Indy travels on the road. They're used to cold weather. Kansas City's probably going to be a little chilly. I think they're okay with that. Andrew Luck's rolling. Frank Wright's been to the Super Bowl, knows what it takes to do it. Won it last year as a coach over with the Eagles. I think Indy can win this game. Give me Indy to win it in a close matchup. It's going to be a shootout, I think. Give me this one 34-32 Indy. 34-32 Indy wins this game over the Chiefs. The other matchup we have here is, drop my pen there, is Dallas and the Rams, and that is going to be at 8:15 on Fox. And the Rams are at home. The Rams play at home, they win. And I got the Rams to win this one, no questions asked. They're playing against Dallas. Everybody's on Dallas' side. Jared Goff looks good. They're back off a bye week, so they've had a week to recover, relax, get ready, be ready to go. The spread on this game is 7 for the Chargers. Todd Gurley, as the running back, had time to get all those bumps and bruises healed up. I know they're still missing Cooper Kupp. I don't know if they're going to make that Super Bowl run they want to make, but I think they have a shot to at least win this one, make it to the NFC Championship. I don't see Dallas' defense being able to stop that high-powered offense and outsmart Sean McVay. Give me the Rams because I think their defense can stand up and stop Dak Prescott. The only problem they got to worry about is stopping Ezekiel Elliott, but they have the power to do it. They got Dante Flower, they have Adama Sue, and they have the sack leader and probably one of the best defensive players there is in Aaron Donald. So give them a chance to stop Zeke. I think the biggest problem is going to be Amari Cooper. If they get the matchup they want on Amari Cooper and they get Marcus Peters there, I think they find a way to use Cooper really, really well. But I think they're going to be smart enough to keep Marcus Peters off of Amari Cooper for that reasoning. And I think they put him on Cole Beasley to play the slot so they can minimize the yards for sure on it. But give me the Rams to win this game 28-17. Rams, 28-17. They win this one by 10, 28-17. Patriots and Chargers. This is the next one. This is the Sunday kickoff. 1:05. Playing in Foxborough. The number 2 seed coming back off of a bye. The Belichick teams win off of a bye. Typically make it to the Super Bowl. They're playing against a team in the Chargers who are tough. They're tough. This is going to be a long travel across the country. They play in the AFC, so they're used to traveling across country as it is already. So that's nothing different. But you're playing in Foxborough with Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and Josh McDaniels, the OC. I understand their defense isn't on all 8, but You have the mastermind in Brady. And it's going to be just phenomenal. And just a quick thing, since we're talking about Brady here, the field against Tom Brady, the field. Just think about how good he is. The field. Phillip Rivers, who he's facing this weekend, hasn't beat him. He's 0-7. So Brady has beat him 7 times. Andrew Luck has faced him 6 times. Andrew Luck has lost all 6. Watson has faced Tom Brady twice. Lost both. Patrick Mahomes has faced him once. Lost it in the shootout with a field goal to end time. And the other one was Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson hasn't played him. So Tom Brady has all their numbers. He knows how to play in the playoffs. They're in Foxborough. You know it's going to be loud. It's going to be a mess up there. And there's probably going to be snow on the ground, so that's going to make it even tougher for these California people who are traveling up there for the game. Give me the Patriots big in this game. Although I'm still a little leery on taking them big. I got them big. I got them winning this game by at least 14 for sure. So give me them 28-14, 28-13, somewhere in that region. Give me that for the Patriots on that win for sure. And then the final matchup of the weekend is going to be the Saints, who will be seeing the defending Super Bowl champions with the man who seems to find a way to keep it going, Nick Foles. Drew Brees, wow, the year that man has had, he's trying to become a Super Bowl MVP. He's done everything. The only thing he's yet to do in his astonishing career is win the MVP. And he's trying to do it this year. And he's had a phenomenal year trying to do it. Alvin Kamara, the one who was drafted late, who was a phenom last year, looking just as good this year. People have found a way to slow him down a little, but he still looks just as good. I think the Saints are going to be tough to beat in the Superdome. I think the Saints win this game, but I think the Eagles are prepping very, very well. And the reason I think they prep well is because with Carson Wentz and his athletic ability, I think they might cut a few corners here and there. But with Nick Foles, there's not much corner cutting you can do because he's not the athlete of Carson Wentz. So they're prepping even harder to get there. You put more prep and all that to make it work. And I think it's still not enough. And I think New Orleans wins this game, even with the bye week, because they're playing at home in the Superdome. They want to avenge what happened to them last year for sure, when they should have beat Minnesota. They don't want to let that happen this year. They want to at least show their people they can make it to the NFC Championship game. I think the Saints win this game. Put some points on the board. Give me 32-23. 32-23. I got New Orleans to win this game, and that will be the matchups I have coming up. A couple of things to touch on just real fast are my MVP races and who I have in the power ranking of Red Rankings. And we'll do the MVP first. I have in at 3 for the MVP. I have Todd Gurley. I didn't want to put everybody as a quarterback. You have to have a little bit of something in there. So I got Gurley in at 3. Number 2, who's the man who's probably going to win it, is Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees will win the MVP. But the one I think should win the MVP is definitely Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is the one who's carried his team as far as he has this year. He came back and turned that team around. He looks phenomenal. And without Andrew Luck, the team's just not the same. I think Andrew Luck should be the MVP of the league. He won't get it. It will probably be Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes would be in the race as well, but I just wanted to put a little bit of something different in there, so I had to put Todd Gurley. And then on to the Red Rankings. The Red Rankings are the best 5 teams left out of these teams left in the playoffs, and I have in at 5 the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a team you got to worry about. Obviously, they've only lost 1 game in about 15 weeks, so they are very, very tough. You got to worry about them for sure. So I think the Chargers are tough, but I think that streak might come to an end because I'm pretty sure it should come to an end because the streak is carried so long. It's incredible, and they're heading to Foxborough to play the Patriots, who I have in at number 4. They're in Foxborough. You can't never count them out, especially considering head coach with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They know how to win Super Bowls. They've done it. They've proved it. Got to put them in at 4. I got the Saints in at 3. Their high-powered offense looked great when the season ended. They were defeated in the last week of the season by the Panthers, but they didn't really play any of their starters. But I think they find a way to come back in, play tough, get out of there, win, and find a way to make it to the NFC Championship. 2, I have the Rams. I think the Rams and Saints face off in the NFC Championship there. Those two face to go to the Super Bowl. Then I have the Colts in at number 1. They're the hottest team in the NFL. The number 1 defense in the NFL since Week 7. Andrew Luck looks great. He's turned that team around. They just went and knocked off Houston in Houston. They are the 6th seed. See if they can do it. They had to play wild card week in the year. They won the championship. When they did it, they had to go through where? The Chiefs in Kansas City to do it. So they're going through Kansas City again, and it's going to rejoice and bring back the Colts-Patriots matchup in Foxborough in the AFC Championship. I'm fired up, and you're going to have Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady. You're going to have the young kid versus the old man. And it's going to be the Colts versus the Pats again. That's what I see as an AFC Championship game. So I'm pumped up about this weekend's football games in the divisional round. So make sure you come back here next week, find out who won the divisional round matchups, who's in the conference matchups, and who's going to win those games and head to the Super Bowl and possibly be the Super Bowl champions. So make sure you tune in right here next week on the Red Line and find out the predictions. We'll see you guys then. Bye.